quitters never win. Except when they do. Welcome, friends. I know it's been a while since the last time you saw my face, so I thought I would say hello with my face. There it is. And I wanted to talk about an experience that I had recently with trying to quit a band, which is never something you want to do. I guess I'll just tell you the story of how I got involved with this group and what made me decide that it's finally time to move on. I figured this is probably a somewhat common situation, especially with musicians, where you enter into a situation that's really hopeful and you're so excited to make music with other people, and then it just turns out over time it's not the right choice for you. So I guess I'll address how I got to that point of realization as well. When I first moved to this county, I lived in a very small town and I taught music in a school, and you know, I was kind of like, well, I'm a band teacher, I would really like to find a band to play in. And someone told me about this wind ensemble, and I thought, well, that's perfect. I'll be in a community group, maybe I'll get a chance to conduct someday or do some stuff, and maybe it'll be fun. I emailed them asking, hey, do you need a musician? I was a clarinet major and I also play trumpet. You know, if you need any people that play either of those instruments, I would love to play. I was new to the area, I didn't know anyone. I thought, you know, making music is a nice way to make friends. And it is. And they said, yeah, play clarinet with us. We'll save you a spot in the first clarinet section. I thought, okay, cool. So I show up. I enjoyed it because the people were really nice and I got to make music, and I felt like my presence was very appreciated because I'm an experienced musician and I come from, you know, a polished music background. I don't know why I'm running. Yeah, it was fun and I got a lot of chances to conduct. And it was all pretty good for about 2 or 3 years, and then 3 years ago I got a job. That's my current job, which is a little bit, it's about 35 minutes north of where this group rehearses. And that's not very far, if it's a very good group. And here's the thing though, it's not a very good group. They start rehearsing at 7:15, there's a snack break sometime around 8:20, and then they get out around 9:20 or so. You know, so it's a late night if I go and stay for a whole rehearsal. I'm getting home around 10. So that's late when you have to work early in the morning. There was that factor. Musically, I was feeling challenged in ways that I didn't want to be challenged, like my patience. And for a while I thought, this is really good for me because I have to learn how I'm going to deal with people who aren't aware of certain things in music yet. And I have to learn ways in which I can adapt and accommodate people that don't know as much as I know. I thought I could stick around for that because I did have occasional rehearsals where I conducted and was working to bring that awareness to the group. So there was that. Now I'm really hoping that people who are in the group don't ever watch this. I was playing first clarinet, which is probably my least favorite part to play in all the band parts that ever existed, because first clarinet parts are really high and shrieky. Every march has first clarinet parts that are like 8 ledger lines above the staff, and it's like no one wants to hear those sounds. I'm sorry, clarinet players. Nobody wants to hear those notes. I am a clarinet player. I hate the feeling of those notes being in my mouth. It's the worst. So I kind of just dealt with it until a nice opportunity to play bass clarinet came along, and I was all over that, you know, like play bass clarinet. Then I can be in charge and I can be like someone who has my own part, that it doesn't have to worry about blending with other people. I got kind of a solo one time when it was like Jaws music, and I was like, da-dun, da-dun. And then I was like looking around like, really? No one else? No one else? Okay. Da, 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 da. That was fun. I loved playing the bass clarinet. However, I don't own a bass clarinet, and when it it's so windy. And when the time came that a student needed to use the bass clarinet that I was using, I was using a school horn, so there were no bass clarinets available for me to use. I thought about like, oh, maybe I'll buy one someday. And, you know, when I have $12,000 lying around, I'll buy a really nice bass clarinet. But no, I don't want to do that. So I took a little hiatus from the group this year because the concert was the same weekend as another group that I'm playing in now that plans their concerts way ahead of time. So I didn't play for the whole fall, and I didn't play again until like maybe March. You know, I didn't have a bass clarinet, did not want to play clarinet because my clarinet broke too, so then they were like, oh, why don't you play trumpet with us? I was like, okay. And sitting back there in the trumpet section was like the worst, because the guy that had like first parts was always like not in tune, and the guy next to me was pretty in tune and he would listen to me, but then across the room the tuba player was like behind what the conductor was doing, and I was just like, there's nothing I can do here that's correct, because the conductor is showing one thing and the tuba player who is driving the bus is dragging us down. Doesn't help that they're married, so I feel like that kind of puts a bias in the conductor's leadership style. You know, she's never gonna be like, you're slow, but he's slow. Then there's the trumpet section that is like not in the same place, and these very, very, very basic skills of playing stuff together, they weren't happening. That's okay sometimes. Like if you have not been playing for 3 months and this is the first time you're getting together after a season, you're just like clearing out the cobwebs. But these people have been playing together for months. It was still like every entrance was like da, 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 da. The conductor wasn't addressing it in a way that was gonna help future incidents not happen. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't going, okay, everyone enter here. This is how it's gonna look when you enter on beat 2. You know, so she wasn't setting people up for success. And I was kind of like, I don't know what's right. I really want to follow, but if I follow, I'm playing in a different place than the other musicians. So I left the rehearsal that night. And I went up to the conductor during the snack break and was like, I'm sorry, I have to go because no one's listening and I don't know what's right and I just feel like this is upsetting me. I'm extra embarrassed because I started to cry. I don't know, I came down to play music and I don't live close. It wasn't the case when I first came down here, but now I play in 2 other groups. Plus I do a lot of other things that take time. Like I have a Tuesday night group that means every Tuesday and it's close to my house, and I have a Sunday group that is every other Sunday. And that's a drive, but I feel like the musical quality of that group is such that I do feel challenged as a musician, not as a person. This group was challenging me as a person in ways that I just felt like weren't appropriate for my state of mind on Thursday nights. But yeah, and I left and I was like, God, that sucks, because I like the people. Everyone's always really nice when I come, and they're always like, oh, we're so glad you're here. Like, we love the group with you, and we love it when you conduct. And I'm like, I don't know. So I guess that's the story of that night. And then there's another part to it that kind of like extra hit the nail in the coffin. I recently went on a long trip up to Humboldt County where I used to live, which is also a very rural area. And my friend was like, oh, you should come play with this band. It's a community band. It should be fun. You know, it's not the best band ever, but you know, we'll have fun. And I go. It's a small group. It's the same kind of setup as this band that I was just quitting. Very small, about 20 people there, not full instrumentation, at a high school, like really similar setup. The conductor was a substitute conductor. I was watching him conduct and I was noticing that everyone was entering on time. You know, there was just this trust and this communication going on that was unspoken. Everyone was watching this person. Everyone was listening to each other. And these people are not professional musicians, they're just people who play, just like the same exact rural situation where this band takes place. I was in this band playing first parts, and it was so nice because people were listening. The conductor had something to say every time he stopped the band. I just felt like no time was wasted. They started at 7:30 on the dot and they ended at 9 on the dot. And I felt like that was so cool because there was no time wasted. Then when I looked back in the other corner of the room, I noticed there was a camcorder. And after the rehearsal was over, I saw the substitute conductor taking down the camcorder. Like, he recorded himself. This is a person that watches how they led a rehearsal every time, even if it's not his own group. He's watching and assessing how he addressed problems. If you're in a leadership position, why would you ever not do that? I just thought that was incredibly admirable. It said a lot about why he was working this way and why he was so efficient. Leadership plays a really big role in whether or not people stay in bands. I know this as a band teacher too, because of course, every band teacher has students that quit. Every time a student quits, it's like, I have to learn the reason. I have to figure out why, because if one person is leaving and they feel this way, they're probably not the only one. It doesn't matter how young the musicians are, their time is valuable. Just guest playing with that other band with such a similar setup than the band I had just quit was kind of like, yeah, this is definitely a good choice for me. That and like my time, I'm noticing, is getting more and more sparse. I have not been working since December, like working my normal job. I've been on disability leave, and I really want to keep this YouTube thing going, but in order to do that, I have to really prioritize what's important to me and keep the things that enrich my life and get rid of the things that don't. When it really came down to it, I was thinking about all the musical groups that I play in. The jazz band really enriches my life because the trumpet section is so great and I learn a lot from playing with them. The trumpet choir that I play in up north enriches my life because it gets me really thinking about ensemble playing, and it gets me thinking about leadership, and it's a lot of different styles of music making. So that's an important one for me to keep at this moment. I have a lot of other things that I do too. I was a union representative for my school district, and I think I'm going to not continue doing that. I've been the secretary for the California Music Educators Association Southwestern section for the last 2 years, and my term is gonna expire this summer and I'm not gonna run again. I am on the board of directors for the Santa Barbara Chamber Music Workshop. I'm gonna keep that position because I think it's really important as a younger person that we're represented in that field of chamber music. And I just love it. And I forget how awesome it is until I go, because I have to go because I'm a board member. So I'm gonna keep that. That is a very minimal commitment. Plus I have this YouTube channel now and I really like it. And everyone's so nice. But when I go back to work full time, it's gonna be busier and I'm not gonna be able to update every day or however many days I do. So listing all of the things I have going on, it was really easy to figure out what to eliminate. I'm glad I did. It makes me a little bit sad because I did really love playing in that group. And it was hard because after I left, I got an email from the conductor saying, well, we really want you to be part of leadership next year and making those great important decisions about what kind of band this is going to be, and you know, we really appreciate your input and you have so many great ideas and we want you to be working closely with us. And I'm just like, So I emailed back and I was like, no, I don't think I made my language clear enough. I don't have time. I don't have time to drive on Thursday evening 35 minutes each way and spend 2.5 hours being in a group that I really don't like that much. I just don't want to. Maybe at another time, maybe someday, I don't know. Probably not. It's kind of nice to have Thursday nights to do my own thing. I mean, let me know below if you've ever had an experience like this where you're just like, I really have to quit this thing. This is really hard because of the personal relationships that you want to maintain. If you've ever struggled with that idea, I totally am there with you. I know what it's like. It really sucks. Let me know if you like these kinds of videos where I'm just talking about my experiences in music, because I kind of like talking things through. I don't know how interesting they are for you. I know people subscribe for different reasons, so let me know if you like these. I was thinking of doing a question and answer and song live stream at some point, maybe on Sunday or some day in a couple days, maybe. Let me know if you would be interested in watching that, or if you have any questions you would like answered. Any questions about me or what I do. That might be fun. We can get to know each other a little better. So, thank you so much for making it to the end. I really appreciate you watching, and until next time, stay mindful, stay musical, and stay out of trouble.